I went to go see The Bride, bro. Frankenstein really just had a small arc of him wanting companionship due to the fact of being alone for 100 plus years. He found that companionship to a woman called The Bride who just brings that spark, but at the same time, looking at both of them, this is a Bonnie and Clyde type of story mixed with Shakespearean tragedy. And I did like the concept of her being in that room with all those powerful men as they proceed to just break dance and shit, which I felt like they missed something quite frankly. Because granted, this was supposed to be about the romance between the two. Remember when she proceeded to have the pew pew in her hand and started to point it all over the place due to the fact of her naming all the women that have been harmed by the men who are in this rightful room, which eventually caused the movement, which I felt like in that moment, it could have had led this opportunity of her just leading a rebellion against those who have wronged women in the process. Because clearly this woman has so much of an effect to the point where they are literally copying the stain that is around her mouth. Because I know they want to highlight the fact of her being on the run, but sit here and have her stand up to the oppression that women face when you're coming against powerful men who get away with harming them. To where you had the police have the challenge of not just apprehending the bride, but also the people that are following her and how she moves in this day in life. Because granted, we did get like scenes of them just causing chaos in the street due to the fact that the bride is a symbolic figure. But really sit here and dive into that element to where she gets to know her followers as she proceeds to realize that what she is doing is a thing that she feels is her rightful purpose. Then especially you also having that voice is also in her head as she proceeds to have these times of being possessed, to where now her followers might even think that she is talking to a higher being that is telling her to enact these plans. Because for me, that would have been so top tier. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy Christian Bale's performance as Frankenstein and also the small role of Jake Gyllenhaal being Robbie Reed. It just had a few things where I felt like it could have been so much more than what I expected it to be. From the chaos to the chemistry between Jesse and Christian Bale was beautiful, making it an enjoyable watch, but at the same time, it needs some things it needs to work on.